Lynn Hernan lived a life that many would describe as uneventful, almost invisible. She occupied a modest house on the edge of town, a place where the days seemed to blend together in quiet routines. Every morning she followed the same schedule, feeding the stray cats that gathered at her porch, tending to her small garden, and leaving for work without drawing much attention. Neighbors knew her name, but little else. They waved politely when passing by, but Lynn rarely lingered for conversation. She was polite, reserved, and careful to keep her world private. What stood out about Lynn was how little she seemed to leave behind in terms of connections. She never married, had no children, and her family lived far away. Despite this, she never appeared lonely. She filled her evenings with books, television, and careful notes in her journal, which she always kept locked away. To those looking in from the outside, Hayes was a life of simple comforts, free from conflict or scandal. Yet behind the closed curtains of her home, there were hints of something more complex. Some neighbors noticed the lights flickering at odd hours of the night, as though she was awake long after the town had gone to sleep. Others recalled seeing unfamiliar vehicles parked near her home, but dismissed it as coincidence. Nothing about Lynn's quiet life suggested danger, but small details that once seemed meaningless would later become haunting clues. Her world, which appeared calm and predictable, was hiding a story no one could have imagined. The day Lynn Hernan's body was discovered began with a simple welfare check. After missing several days of work and failing to answer calls, her employer grew concerned. When police entered her home, the air was heavy and stale, carrying a faint chemical odor that lingered in every room. Lynn was found lying motionless in her living room chair, the television still glowing faintly in front of her. At first glance, nothing appeared out of place. There were no broken locks, no shattered windows, and no clear signs of an intruder. It could have easily been mistaken for a peaceful death in her sleep. But as investigators looked closer, the picture shifted. Scattered on the floor near her chair were empty pill bottles, some without labels, others with dates scratched out. A broken glass lay beside them, with traces of liquid still inside. On the nearby table, half-burned sheets of paper revealed fragments of words that hinted at fear and desperation. It didn't take long for suspicion to grow that Lynn's passing was far from natural. The autopsy confirmed what many already feared. Toxicology results showed a lethal mixture of sedatives, a combination strong enough to shut down her system completely. The official cause of death was poisoning, but the manner, whether it was intentional or inflicted, remained uncertain. Investigators were left to ask the chilling question: had Lynn chosen to end her life, or had someone carefully orchestrated her death? What appeared ordinary at first was quickly unraveling into a mystery filled with dark possibilities. When investigators turned their focus to Lynn Hernan's private life, they discovered that her carefully constructed image of normalcy was far from the truth. Hidden in the back of her closet, inside an old lockbox, were journals that stretched back years. The pages were filled with neat handwriting, chronicling her thoughts and fears with unsettling detail. What began as simple reflections on daily life soon shifted into accounts of unease, descriptions of misplaced belongings, faint noises at night, and an ever-growing sense that she was not alone. She wrote of shadows lingering near her windows and footsteps echoing in the darkness outside her home. Alongside the journals, investigators uncovered troubling financial records. Over the course of several months, large withdrawals had been made from Lynn's bank account, amounts far beyond her usual expenses. Some transfers appeared deliberate, yet others seemed suspicious, as though someone else might have been accessing her funds. Her co-workers later confirmed that Lynn had mentioned money troubles but refused to explain further, brushing off concerns with a nervous smile. The discoveries didn't end there. In between the pages of her journals were torn letters addressed to an unnamed person. Though never mailed, they carried a tone of desperation, as if she was begging someone to stop tormenting her. What alarmed investigators most was a repetition of a single name scattered across her notes, a name circled, underlined, and written in shaky handwriting, pointing towards someone she once knew well. It was a chilling revelation that her past may have been quietly stalking her all along. The investigation took a dramatic turn when the name in Lynn Hernan's journals led detectives to a woman named Claire. Years earlier, Claire and Lynn had been inseparable. They shared meals, exchanged secrets, and relied on one another during difficult times. But their bond fractured after a bitter dispute over money, leaving behind resentment and silence. While Lynn chose solitude, Claire's life spiraled into instability, marked by failed jobs, broken relationships, and financial ruin. On the surface, she had vanished from Lynn's world, but in reality, she had never let go of their fractured past. Neighbors later reported seeing a familiar vehicle parked near Lynn's home late at night, though no one thought much of it at the time. Surveillance cameras from nearby businesses eventually confirmed Claire's presence in the neighborhood on several occasions, always lingering near Lynn Street. The discovery deepened suspicions that she had been watching Lynn, waiting for an opportunity to act. When investigators searched Claire's small rented apartment, the evidence they found was disturbing. Hidden in drawers were prescription bottles identical to the drugs found in Lynn's system. Burned and partially destroyed photographs of Lynn were recovered from her trash, along with forged financial documents that connected directly to the missing money from Lynn's bank account. The walls of the apartment revealed more, handwritten notes filled with anger, bitterness, and fixation on Lynn. Each piece of evidence built a chilling narrative. Claire had not only returned to the town, but had carefully embedded herself into Lynn's life again, fueled by revenge that had festered for years. As the pieces of the puzzle came together, the chilling truth of Lynn Hernan's death emerged. The journal recovered from Claire's apartment became the most damning evidence of all. In it, she documented her thoughts with frightening precision, describing her bitterness toward Lynn and her growing obsession with destroying her. Pages outlined steps of a plan, gaining access to Lynn's house, acquiring the pills, and slowly feeding fear into her former friend's life. What investigators realized was that Lynn's final months had not been a sudden tragedy, but the result of a carefully orchestrated campaign of torment. Claire's writings revealed how she had broken into Lynn's home on multiple occasions, moving objects, stealing small items, and leaving behind subtle signs to make Lynn question her sanity. She drained Lynn's finances through forged withdrawals, adding pressure to an already fragile life. When Lynn began to unravel, Claire escalated her scheme, ensuring that the sedatives left no chance of survival. The arrest sent shockwaves through the community. Many could not believe that a woman once considered a close friend could harbor such long-lasting hatred. At trial, the evidence was overwhelming. The pills, the financial records, the burned photographs, and most importantly, the journal, all pointed to a deliberate act of vengeance. Claire showed little remorse, insisting that Lynn had deserved it, a statement that chilled everyone in the courtroom. For those who knew Lynn, the truth was devastating. Her quiet, ordinary life had ended not by chance but by betrayal. The shocking truth was that the person she once trusted most had patiently and ruthlessly plotted her end.